Hey everybody, welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson, and we are going to talk today about some steps, some things that you must be doing to win in this new environment of, COVID-19 or just where we're at economically. And I think these things are going to really, they're actually really simple, but I'm going to call it back to the basics. We're not going to overcomplicate it, but I'm just going to say there are certain things that you absolutely must be doing right now so you can get yourself set up to make some of that legacy wealth, to make the kind of moves that you want to make in an opportunistic time. And I'm telling you, my friends, shift is coming, shift happens, change happens, change is already on its way. And you just want to be doing the activity that's going to reward you and reward you well. So before we get started, though, I just want to really quickly go to iTunes and just give an honorable mention to someone that put a review on there. I honestly really appreciate it when you take the time to make the review. I know it is not easy and it's a little bit of a process. So again, thank you so much for doing that. This one doesn't have a name to it, but it says actionable steps to multis. Great podcast. Always learn a lot from what Corey and his guests share on his podcast, from finding to due diligence to funding. It gives a great overall perspective on what we need to do to stay ahead. And guys, that is exactly why I created this podcast. I didn't create this podcast to become famous or to, I really just did it because, hey man, I love this game. I love it. I mean, there's nothing else. And listen, I barely met out of high school. My first job was at McDonald's. I sold cars. I've had a lot of crappy jobs. My dad was a roofer, so I learned the roofing trade. And the only thing that I've found so far that can give you a life, and a crazy good life, is made through apartments. I used to think that it was actually fix and flip and wholesale. And listen, I made a good living doing that business. But man, it is nothing. And let me tell you, it is nothing compared to that sexy cash flow. You know the kind. You listen, Conor McGregor talks about, when someone fights Conor McGregor, it's red panty night. Listen, when you close a fat apartment deal, it's red panty night. I'm telling you, it gets you excited. And it's a payday. But it's not just a payday once. It's a payday time and time and time again. And that's the power of this message, and why I think this podcast you should pay attention to is because I leave lots of clues. And really, I scratch. I don't just do the surface. I dig deep to show you the underbelly of how this business works. Now, all I ask for you as a listener is if you like this and you get stuff out of it, can you share it? Can you get out there and share it with people? Help me get the message out. People need to learn the tricks and have that abundance mentality. Have that abundance mentality. We will never, there's always more deals for all of us. We can all make lots of money together and really have a great time doing it. Because in my experience, this business gives you two things: time and money. And listen, I know a lot of people that have a lot of money and they don't have a lot of time. And it's sad. And then I know a lot of people that don't have, much money, but they have a lot of time. And really, I think as humans, we kind of want both. I know I did. And so that's what multifamily investing is the thing that I found that has given me both. And it's been a true privilege to learn from some great people, to mentor people. I always say you should be teaching and coaching, right? And you also should be a student. You should always be learning. I still learn in this game today. I've never stopped trying to learn about this business. So I just want to encourage you right now that if you're listening to this podcast, that means you have an interest in multifamily investing. And I truly believe you are in the right spot. I want to wrap my arms around you, and if I could shake you and just say, you can do it. You can do it. Listen, I'm nothing special. Trust me on this. I think there's lots of people do it way better. The only difference between a lot of people and me is that I just don't quit. My dad taught me not to quit, and I just don't do it. You may win, you may beat me, but long term, I'll get there. I'll get there. And so that's my mentality, and it served me really well. And, just don't quit. Just keep going forward. Make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail. Enjoy the journey, because I truly believe this game is a journey. Sometimes you're going to scrape your knees. Sometimes you're going to have, the thrill of victory. And then other times you're going to be like, gosh, damn it. And I've had those moments too. And we may be in the middle of a gosh dang it moment right now with COVID. But I think we're doing pretty well. I mean, the whole country's suffering. Could you imagine? I mean, listen, I consider myself blessed right now because I'm not having to worry about money. But there was a time when every week was a struggle. And I remember that. And so I'm so thankful that this business has given me the ability to not have to worry about that. But at the same time, I'm still cognitive. I see people hurting, and it just makes me want to give and help others and help my family, and just listen, bless those around you. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Put a smile on your face. Imagine what you can do with that. All right, so in today's episode, I really want to talk about the 3 things that I think you must be doing to be successful. And the first one is, I'm just going to put out there, and I think this should be really obvious for everybody. But step number 1, what you should be doing right now to win in this environment is calling brokers. Calling brokers. I'm telling you right now, you should do the research, find the markets you want to be in, and then you can go to loopnet.com. How do you call brokers? Let's define what brokers are. Brokers are the ones that are going to bring you deals. Okay. Now, listen, I know there's lots of people say, well, I'm going to do, there's a lot of people that do list and things like that, list building or direct mail marketing and all that stuff. It does work. It really does. But I spend no money, and all I do is call people, and it works. I think I've had Michael Becker on my show a couple times. I think I just had him a couple weeks ago. And he talks about the unfair advantage of just having relationships with the people that actually do all the work anyways to find deals. And what's wrong with that? And it really is an unfair advantage. So calling brokers, I'm letting them know that you're in the marketplace and you're looking for deals. I would be trying right now. Why no one else? Everybody else is scared and sitting in their underwear right now, eating bombs, watching the tube, watching Tiger King or whatever the hell that is. My kids have watched it, but I've not. And so all I know is Carol Bassett. Okay, just don't be a Carol Bassett, and we're okay. But listen, I mean, it doesn't take that much effort to go out and research the markets you want to be in and then start calling all brokers. And even if you have a list of brokers now, when's the last time you just called them and said, hey, what's up? Now, the problem with most of you is that when you call that broker, you have nothing to talk about. Nothing besides, do you got a deal? Do you got a deal? You find me a deal? Listen, that's the problem, okay? As you start creating a relationship with brokers, you should be talking about something else than real estate. And I mean, period. And what does that look like? Well, that is, what do they, it has nothing to do with you, by the way. It is only about them at this point. What do they like to do? And so one of the ways that you can find out something more than just some superficial crap about people is to ask them a question. And my favorite question to ask is, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do for fun, John? Oh, I like to, listen, and if they don't answer it, well, I like to work. No, that's not it, bro. Right? Keep asking, like, dude, no one likes to work. What do you really like to do, bro? Right? Now, I'm saying bro, I probably wouldn't call a broker bro, but maybe I would. I mean, I probably would. I definitely call him brother because that's just what I do. Or sister, if it's a woman. I don't care. Judge me, I don't care. But my goal is to get on the inside, and have them tell me, I like to golf. Now, personally, the whole goal is to find something you have in common with them. So when someone says, well, I like to golf, I'll be like, because I hate golf. Now, I could talk about golf a little bit, but it's not really, I just don't like it. And now, I know that sounds weird. So I might ask, like, well, what else do you like to do? But, if someone says, like, I like golf, great. I don't follow golf, but, I understand golf. All I can think about, I like Tiger Woods. That's probably so, like, old now at this point. But, listen, I would be like, well, who's your favorite golfer? Right? Or, if someone said, well, I like snow skiing. Man, I love to snow ski. Dude, where's your favorite place to ski? What's your favorite run? When's the last time you went? And that now becomes your open. I've said this in other podcasts, but like relationship building is really easy, guys. It's just all you got to do to build relationships is stop thinking about you and start thinking about them. And really be interested. Be an interested person about who they are. And then when you're calling your brokers, you are now talking about kids, family, sports, anything else other than stupid real estate. That, my friends, is how you get an unfair advantage. That's how you move the needle. That's how you get someone, when they have a deal that's queued up and it looks like the kind of deal that Corey Peterson would like, that you get the call, you don't get the email, you get an actual phone call to your phone, and it says, hey, Corey, this is John. I've got a deal for you. Why don't you take a look at it? And so why am I saying that that's step number one right now? Because I just truly in my heart believe that people are not communicating right now, and you can stand out in the crowd real easily if you will just make that commitment to call brokers. Spend time block yourself. Put a 2-hour time block and say, I'm going to do nothing but call brokers in markets and just touch base with them. And try to move your call forward in that if you don't have, if you don't know what they do for fun, you just got to start asking that question. Find a way to transition to, hey man, I'm getting ready to come out there. What do you like to do for fun? Right? And people will tell you some weird things, but it's when you get to the core of it, it's what they like. And if you could talk about what they like and and have some type of liking yourself. And so I'll give you an example. Today I was on a call. I'm negotiating to put a deal under contract. And so we kind of had to retrade the deal. And so I set up a call with me and the broker because he's going to present our PSA to the seller. And I wanted to give him some pretense of why I had to change it. So it just wasn't just like this cold and sterile PSA. It had a story to it. And a lot of times, brokers sometimes need help selling a story to a seller. They have to believe the story of what you're trying to convey to them. And so the issue that I had with this deal was that we're in COVID-19 and lending is not happening fast. It's actually happening very, very slow. And so our normal contract that we normally write was not going to work. And this is actually a property that I had under contract during COVID. We canceled it. And now we feel comfortable to go back into contract. But now everything's changed because the lending environment has changed. And so we were trying to have like a 45-day close of escrow, and we found out that it truly just probably needed a 90-day close of escrow because Freddie and Fannie were going to take a long time to close. We couldn't count on it for certain that it was going to move fast. And so as I'm calling the brokers and I'm talking to them, our first open was just about, we talked about the media thing, which is COVID and how they're doing, right? And then we started talking about they're from Dallas, and I was like, and so I'm complimenting them on their state, and in Dallas and the area, and they're so lucky to live there, and yada yada yada, right? And we're just having a great time. So then we get into some stuff, and then we start going because I knew one of the brokers likes to ride. And I was like, dude. That he rides motorcycles. I love riding. I mean, I have a Harley. I go to Sturgis every year. Have for the last 5 years. I enjoy riding my bike. And so we just kind of had a brief conversation about motorcycles. And all of a sudden he popped up he was like, oh man, I love riding motorcycles. And what do and actually I didn't, now that I'm trying to recall it here, I actually didn't know that he liked riding motorcycles. I was just kind of putting out some feelers. Because sometimes another way to do it is just, hey, here's what I like to do. You guys, and he's like, oh man, I like motorcycles. And dude, I took a mental note and I actually updated his contact record that he drives a Ducati. And now that's like I call it a crotch rocket, right? I'm not judging him because he drives a crotch rocket. Maybe I should. Actually, I laughed at him. I know that's so bad. Harley guys are so bad, dude. I was like, well, that's cool. But so do you have a real bike? But listen, but we had a laugh out of it. And, he was just generally, he was an enthusiast. You could tell that he rides a lot and he really enjoys it. And so we had a great little conversation in the middle of that was a total tangent. We just went on a tangent, and because you get a lot more out of goodwill and someone just generally liking who you are. So we went there, and then we came back to the point of all right, so and we wrapped up the conversation, and these guys, they're like, hey, well, let's recap. So this, and this, and this, and this is the way we see it. And, could we, and then they asked for a concession, which you always know the broker is going to ask you for. If you want to do this, can you give up something? And I was like, yeah, listen, I'm amicable. And so we kind of cut the deal that I think they needed to believe in their minds so they could go sell it to the seller. And one thing I've learned about negotiations, and actually, don't judge me on this, but this comes from Donald Trump, is that you start negotiations way leaned on your side. If you try to come into an offer with something that's kind of watered down already, and then you give up more, you're going to lose. So I had my PSA contract super with a 90-day close with a 30-day extension, earnest money, and then a financial contingency, and then also a occupancy contingency. I put 4 or 5 things in there that honestly, some of those things I don't even care about, the going hard. I was willing to go hard right away. I didn't need the financial contingency, but I put it in there on purpose because if they're going to let me have it, great. If they say nothing, good for Corey. But I was willing to negotiate and give up some things. But if you don't put everything in there, then you don't have things to take away to make it look like and appear that you're giving something up, right? I know that's magic, right? That's called the art of negotiations. And so I think I learned that from Donald is if start extreme and put everything in there so you can actually, when you negotiate, people have to feel like they want to win. So you can take things out, but if you don't start with all that stuff, all that little nitpicky stuff in there first, then people don't feel like they're getting the right deal. And it's about selling it. So those brokers had to go sell the seller. Now, who knows if it works yet, because I still don't have a reply yet, but I'm pretty sure that we'll get through it, and the seller will agree, and we'll come to terms, and we'll get to ink this deal. We'll see. But listen, at the end of the day, I would be like totally calling brokers right now. So, and I mean, that's really the name of the game is calling brokers. All right, so I'm gonna step back for just a quick minute because like I wanted to talk. I'm gonna talk about the 3 steps here, and we're gonna go to 2 more. But before I do that, I really want to give a quick plug on some things that we're working on that I think are really important. Number 1, if you're listening to this podcast and you like are really wanting to get into the business and you want some like solid information, man, during this COVID, I kind of just, man, I want to give away my stuff for free, but I can't give it away for exactly free, but I'm going to try to give it as affordable as possible. I took all the courses, all my notes, all my contracts, all my forms, and my zip file. I packaged it all together. My RPM course, my Kahuna cash flow calculator, my underwriting software, all the things that it takes, the case studies that you can use to help use that tool. The Raising Private Money course, it's a full-blown course on how to raise millions of dollars. I mean, it's what I do now to raise millions of dollars. And then my Complete Apartments to Millions Dollars course. All that, I bundle everything together. My marketing packets, our high-end brochures, like all that stuff, we've got it for you. Like it's dialed in, my friends. We are giving all that away for $97 a month. Just a $7 a month subscription. You can cancel at any time, but it's real information. Like it is, and it's segmented. So when we went to create this, we totally made it so you can like watch it and not get a lot of fluff. Like sometimes when you consume a course or online training material, you've got to go like an hour and a half of somebody talking about some stupid crap that you're like, just deliver the baby. Well, we knew this when we went to a record and we're like, hey, let's tell a quick story to understand and set up the process, but then let's just give the meat and potatoes. And so that's what we did. So to get that, you go to Kahuna HQ, kahunahq.com, and for $97 a month subscription, you can get everything that I've ever created. And dude, it is, I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. I put a lot of, and by the way, if you do it, I'll send you both my books for free. All right, both my books. So I'll give you my books too, just as an added bonus, because I want you guys to have everything that I've created. I really want people to enjoy it, because I believe we are in the midst of some real opportunity. And I'd feel like crap if I couldn't help you get there. So $97 a month subscription, cancel anytime you want. Great information, great tools, everything that you would need to do apartment syndication and finding deals and raising rents and all the things in between. So, and we can consistently update that data. So we're actually getting ready to add 2 more segments in the next 2 months. That's going to be really good. All right, so I didn't want to take too long, but I just wanted to put that out there because, man, we've worked and thought about it for a long time. We finally just decided to screw it. Let's just do it, and let's make it affordable for everybody. So there you have it. There is no excuse why you can't go out there and win. $97 a month, kahunahq.com. All right, so we talked about step number 1, which was the whole, call the brokers. Step number 2, second thing you must do, is call money. Yeah, call money. Now, listen, some of you may be like, I don't have anybody to call. I don't know anybody with money. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Listen, you're talking to people every day. Every day. And the goal is not to talk to money sometimes as it is to talk to anybody that will listen and share what you're doing. Don't sell what you're doing. Share what you're doing. You'll get a lot more out of that, especially if you're new. Now, as you become more seasoned, then we talk about money. And so when I say call money, you're going to start calling, you start off with your friends and your family and all the people that you know. And what you're really trying to do is get them to sign what's called an accredited investor questionnaire. And guess what? If you don't have a questionnaire, if you go to kahunahq.com, you will, because it's the form that you're going to need that you want investors to sign to say that you have a substantive relationship with. It's a document that talks about their financials. And so you want that form filled out. So then you can share with them offerings when you actually do get a deal. You can share that deal with the people who have signed your accredited investor questionnaire. So calling money is kind of one of those things where it really is about, again, it's another relationship building. And so right now is a great time to be out there priming the pump to get capital, because change is coming and you've got to let people know. So, and that's the beauty of what's going on right now is people know that COVID's out there. People are not stupid, and that you can just say, hey, listen, we're biding our time, but we think here coming up, there's going to be some opportunity for deals, and I would love to be able to send them to you when I get them. They're like, okay, well, and in order for me to send them to you, I need you to fill out this accredited investor form. Now, I highly recommend, if you're going to send out an accredited investor form, use DocuSign. DocuSign, I think it's .net or .com. You can load up an accredited investor form and create, the form, pre-filled form spots, so they can click and choose what they need to do and fill out that form correctly. You'll have a far better success rate. Now, how do we know this? Because we've tested it. We've sent just a blank document to people and said, hey, can you fill this out and send it back? And guess what? Crickets. Because no one does it. Everybody, listen, that's a pain in the butt. But people will open up their phones and fill out a form and click all day long until the cows come home. And the great thing about DocuSign is that it'll store it for you as well. And then you can also set it up to where it'll port into, like we use Dropbox. So it ports it into Dropbox for us. Now we have it. It's safe. It's secure. And forever and ever, amen. We actually, we're a little more sophisticated. It actually goes into our Infusionsoft. That's a whole different process. But we have a way we take those documents and we get them. But to get that form filled out, like when you're calling money, because the only objective of the calling money is to let them know that you're getting something to come. Like we're going to be having deals come, and we want to get you in now so we can share that deal with you. Because you're not allowed to share deals that you're already working with new people. You have to wait till the next deal. So the whole goal of when you're calling money is to start prime the pump now and get ready for when you do have a deal so you can actually share it with people. And so the next step after you talk to them is to get your accredited investor questionnaire filled out and have a talk with them and talk about their financials and talk about their suitability and what they're doing and their investment goals and criteria, what their dreams and goals are, right? And then what do they do for fun? So you can have so then when you're just talking to them, doing a quarterly callback just to touch base, you're talking about something other than stupid real estate. Like, real estate gets pretty old pretty quick, believe it or not, right? I know you guys listen to this podcast. You're like, I listen to it every week, Corey. But, it's sometimes kind of boring. It can be kind of boring. And so, and especially for people that are not in real estate, they're like, ugh, because it's not about them, right? So just make your conversations about them and you'll do really well. So, recap, call brokers, call money, and that sets us up for the third step. These are basic. This is back to the basics. If I had to name this episode, I'm just saying it's back to the basics. You should be doing these things to make money. Period. Call brokers, call your money, and then step number 3, drum roll, underwrite deals. And there you have it. Drop the mic. That's all you got to do. Listen, if all you did was those 3 things, call brokers, call money, and underwrite some stupid deals, you're going to be a multimillionaire. I'm just telling you right now, you will be a multimillionaire if you will just do those 3 things. Back to the basics. It is not hard. It is not complicated. It is simple. I'm just going to do the work. Now, underwriting deals, you have to have software. You got to have some type of calculator that you can like put in all the information and like make it spit out some assumptions of what you think you can do. And the great thing I love about multifamily is it's all based on numbers. This whole business is based on your underwriting. And so if you don't know how to underwrite, guess what? KahunaHQ.com, $97 a month. I will give you my software, the Kahuna Cashflow Calculator that we created to underwrite deals. It's very simple, yet it's really powerful. I had to make it simple because I barely made it out of high school. I don't need complicated math. I need common sense stuff that works. And we had a team to help us power the Excel to make it do smart stuff. Okay, smart stuff. But it works really, really well, and I'm really proud of it. And we're updating that. Like, we're constantly updating and making that thing better. We just added a model in there right now that's going to be Ninja. We've not launched it yet, but in about I think almost 2 more weeks, we're almost done beta testing it, which is a new version to simulate a lease-up process. Right? In other words, if you went from 12% to 8% a year, that's what you're thinking about doing. It doesn't happen immediately. It happens gradually. You go from 12% divided by 12 months to get to 8% or whatever. And so the income doesn't happen on day one of that first month. It happens gradually, and it increases over time as you get your occupancy up or your vacancy down. And so so we believe our calculator is now more accurate, and accuracy is good to simulate a lease up, how lease ups really happen. So listen, we're always making tweaks. I call it open source because it truly is. We give you the ability to underwrite and change and modify all you want, but you can always go get the master if you break it, which is great. So that's KahunaHQ.com. To get for $97 a month, you get all that scrap, right? So I don't mean to try to sell it hard, but I just think it's such a value that if you don't do it, man, what are you waiting for? If you're listening right now thinking, man, I've been looking to do something, do that. What are you kidding? If you don't like it, quit it. But I'm going to tell you, there's some really good tools in there that probably help you change your game, probably help you raise a couple $1 million. That's what it did for me. And I had to learn by screwing up. I didn't have someone to say, hey, Corey, here's the way. I just had to boldface get out there and grind it. And I guess because I did grind it, I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of things not to do. And that's why I create this podcast, is to share with you guys my struggle, because the struggle is real. And I just hope that you don't have to. So if you will underwrite, so it's not just good enough to underwrite. Put stuff in a financial calculator and and see if it makes a deal or not. You've got to then, and this is really key, gives you the reason to call that broker again and tell him why or why not that you have a deal. And why is that important? Because, man, I'm telling you, when you're in the throes of trying to get a deal, and if that broker can understand really what a Kahuna deal or your deal looks like, hey, I like something that's 150 units and it's about this price and it has these kind of things wrong with it. And when they really truly try to understand you and what you're good at, they will actually, when something like that hits their desk, they'll think of you again. So all you're trying to do is, when you're talking and giving brokers feedback, you're really trying to educate them on what your deal looks like. And sometimes you may actually have one. And that's a great call to say, hey, listen, I really like this deal, right? I think it really works for me. But the other time is you got to be willing to just go through the monotonous of underwriting lots of deals. How many deals you got to underwrite? A lot, right? Sometimes it's about 100 deals to get one deal. And here now, and I want you to listen for this for just a second, because when when I teach people, sometimes unlike the single family business where you can kind of do work in a month, you might get something the month after or that month. Sometimes with multifamily, it's a delayed response. It may take works of 3 or 4 months to actually maybe put together a deal or find a deal. And then you still have to go through the whole process of trying to close. But here's hope and really think about this. If all you did was one deal a year, that's all you did. I have a podcast where I talk about doing one deal a year for 5 years. It would change your life. It would, if you did one apartment, like 100-unit deal, that's all you did, just one deal every year for 5 years. I'm telling you right now, game over, my friend. You will be living that cash flow life. Truth is, you probably could do it a little sooner if you wanted to. But if all you did was like spend and grind all year to find one deal, listen, it's not that bad. That's a really good pace. And you should reward yourself with that. And so just know that this game is, it's a little different. It's not instant gratification, but if you will do these 3 basic things, call brokers, call money, and underwrite deals. If you will do those things and then call those brokers back and let them know why it is or it's not a deal, you will eventually become successful, my friend. It is just basic math, and it will get you there. Like I said in the beginning of the show, listen, the reason I'm successful is I just never quit. And I'm just telling you right now, you should never quit too. Life is too short to quit on things that really matter. And I believe that this business matters. I think this is it. I have one of my students, Sean Thompson, he was like, he just created all his logo and all his stuff, and it's him and his daughter. And he's like, this just feels different. This feels like legacy. This is something that I'm going to stake my family's name on. And that is what multifamily investing does. It does create legacy, guys. Legacy wealth. And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know how to, because at the end of the day, man, we all have an infinite, or not an infinite, a very short time here on this earth. Make it count. Make your days count. Do something that matters, and live life in abundance and with a smile on your face. And there's so many people hurting in the world right now. Be that positive force out there, and go out there and call your parents, call your loved ones, make a difference in people's lives, because right now it's needed more than ever. Guys, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings. I love this podcast. I love doing it. I love sharing. I know that you can do it. I know you can. Go to kahunahq.com, $97. Take me up on that offer. Enjoy all the stuff that's out there, and keep listening to this podcast and share it as much as you can. It does make a difference. Let's get out there and share it with the world. Guys, if you believe it, you can achieve it, and your paradise is possible.